So for the second year in a row, the Eagles will have home field throughout the NFC playoffs. And here's the UPS leaderboard delivering today's leaders. Joey Harrington with a huge day, the 3 touchdowns, and the Lions defense with the 4 big sacks, the 1 interception. And Torrey Holt, his team didn't win, but he had 5 receptions. And now the Wachovia uncommon perspective play of the day. The Otis Smith sack on Mark Bulger. The corner blitz didn't see him coming, but Smith saw Bulger. That later led to Bulger going out of the game. The Uncommon Perspective brought to you by Wachovia. Together we can achieve uncommon results. LaRon Pitts, Tim Ryan, and Jennifer Hammond in Detroit saying so long. The final again, the Rams 20 and the Lions 30. Coming up next, it's the SBC post-game show. For more info and the latest NFL news, log on to foxsports.com. And Tim Ryan, I want to say it was great working with you this year, partner.
Ron, it was awesome. I've never had more fun doing this. Big thanks to all the crew, everybody down in the truck. Awesome, guys. Let's do it again.
So long, everybody. JB and the guys are next.
It's the SBC post-game show, brought to you by SBC.
All right, folks, coming up on January 2nd, it is the SBC Cotton Bowl. Oklahoma State taking on Mississippi. That'll be coming your way Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific time here on Fox. The SBC Cotton Bowl right here on Fox as we welcome you into L.A. for the SBC postgame show. A wild day with playoff implications. Folks, we will set the table for you, and we get started right now as the Blonde Bomber gets set to talk about Tampa Bay and Tennessee. Let's roll with it.
All right, Steve McNair not playing, having a little fun with the Titans mascot as we watch Neil O'Donnell first start since 2001. Hits Mason down the middle. Derek Mason, 23-yard touchdown. 10-3 Tennessee. O'Donnell to Derek Mason again. Beautiful catch. A 34-yarder. 26-6. It is Tennessee. And then Eddie George becomes the 17th player. Took over 10,000 yards rushing in a career. Congratulations. 33-13. Tennessee over Tampa Bay. That is your final.
Buccaneers are the 4th Super Bowl champion to finish the following season with a losing record.
All right, Peyton Manning and the coach looking to win the AFC South. Watch as Dominic Davis, a rookie out of LSU, his 13-yard touchdown run, 1 of 2 rushing on the day. It gives the Titans a 14-point lead, 17-3. But back come the Colts after a car interception. Manning, a 5-yarder to Brandon Stokely, ties the game, and then 5 seconds left. Mike Vanderjagt nails his 43-yard field goal, setting a new NFL record for consecutive field goals of 41. Houston loses to Indy 20-17.
And there is the reaction in Tennessee to that 41st consecutive field goal, new NFL record, and Tennessee knows that they cannot win the AFC South as a result. And there we go. So the Colts come from behind. Terry's MVP on the Terry Awards, Mr. Peyton Manning doing it.
Doing a nice job. You talk about doing a nice job all year. Priest Holmes looking to make history today. Takes this handoff 1 yard out. Touchdown for his 26th rushing touchdown of the season, breaking Emmitt Smith's NFL record for rushing TDs in a season of 26. KC up 7-0. And then Holmes, 2-yard run, his 27th of the season, breaking Marshall Faulk's record for total rushing touchdowns in a season. Congratulations, Casey, 31-3 over the visiting Chicago Bears.
Kansas City with its 13th straight home games, and there is the pictorial embellishment of what Terry Bradshaw just said. Priest Holmes now the new single-season NFL total touchdown leader with 27. Thank you very much, TB.
You're welcome, David.
All
right. Cleveland, Cincinnati Bengals looking to get into the playoffs. Cleveland hoping to stop them. Rudy Johnson from 2 yards out, 1 of 2 touchdowns on the day. It's Cincinnati 14-13. And then rookie running back Lee Suggs, big day, 25-yard touchdown run, 1 of 2 on the day for him. 2-point conversion, no good. Cleveland 19-14 over Cincinnati. Then under a minute to go, Bengals last chance getting the pass, intercepted by Robert Griffin. It is Cleveland 22-14 over the Bengals.
All right, so take a look now at the lineup in the AFC. I know Howie and Jimmy are all over this. You see New England, home field throughout. Kansas City with the 2nd seed. Indianapolis, Baltimore, Tennessee, and Denver.
Well, India, you know, teams that can't be happy with the matchups. You talk about
you know, Denver having to return to Indianapolis. And Indianapolis doesn't match up well, as we saw. Griffin tore them up, rookie running back out of Oklahoma. And then you look at Minnesota. They get a return trip from Seattle. Seattle didn't match up well with them a couple weeks ago, 34-7. Those are matchup. Tennessee, in contrast, travels to Baltimore. They're #1 versus the run versus Lewis. You see how much Lewis runs today in a meaningless game.
Yeah, Brian Billick said he was going to run him and trying to get the record, but I have a feeling he'll probably rest him, get him ready for the playoffs. And you're exactly right. Denver last week beat Indianapolis 31-17 in Indy, and so they're going to be going back there next weekend for the first round of the playoffs.
Well, and Dallas, to me, Dallas has to be happy traveling to Carolina, a team that I think they probably match up a little bit better with.
They beat them earlier on, right?
Then traveling to Minnesota, which would be an offensive firework. You have to keep court with Minnesota's offense. I don't think Dallas is capable of doing that.
Yeah, you look at both of them. You know, Seattle going to Minnesota. Minnesota lit them up earlier in the season. Carolina loses to Dallas earlier in the season. Those matchups.
So explain to me why Dallas could go and lose to New Orleans and how in the world St. Louis could travel to Detroit, knowing if they win up there to a bad football team, they get home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Someone explain this to me.
St. Louis's defense played horrible. Bolger played horrible. Now Lovie Smith, defensive coordinator, going to be interviewing for the Giants job after having a horrible
and
day.
now Green Bay has to hope that Minnesota loses in Arizona or they're out.
And say hello to Philadelphia and congratulations.
Yeah,
home field advantage.
You know what?
And the reason Lovie didn't look so good today because Mark Bolger had a bad day indeed, in large part. Hey, folks, when we come back, we will set the picture at the table for you on the NFC side of the house. One team we know that was fighting for a playoff spot is in. Two others are now going to be fighting for the last spot. We'll tell you all that in a moment.
Thank you for watching Over Me Angels. Thank you, Angels.
People all over the metro know just how special Angels are.
Your donated gifts made thousands of wishes come true this holiday season.
Thank you from all of us here at WDAF for supporting the Fox 4 Salvation Army Angel Tree year after year.
Happy holidays to you and your family.
The Fox 4 Salvation Army Angel Tree is sponsored by Bassett Furniture Direct, Missouri Repertory Theater, Applebee's, and the Jones Store. Welcome back to the SBC Postgame Show.
All right, folks, as we welcome you back to the SBC Postgame Show, Dallas was looking to go into the playoffs with some momentum. Instead, it was New Orleans.
Joe Horn, star wide receiver Pro Bowler, out with an injured shoulder, doesn't play. Parcells hoping to get the Cowboys hot and going into the playoffs. Carter under a lot of pressure. Finds Richie Anderson, 3-yard score. Cowboys up 7-3 over the Saints. Then Aaron Brooks, watch this great grab. Dante Stoller deep in, nice shot. And then Darren Woodson, 28 for the Cowboys. Didn't wrap him up, tried to knock him down with a forearm. All the way, 76-yard score. New Orleans, 10-7 over the Cowboys. And then Carter looking for Terry Glenn. A lot of slipping going on. Glenn goes down. Ball's picked off by Jay Bellamy. Cowboys lose this football game 13-7 to the Saints. All right, Dave Wanstadt with Wayne Huizinga. Congratulations. 2-year extension. Good for him. Here's a man done a fine job down with Miami. Ricky Williams, 16-yard score. It's 13-0 Miami over the Jets. And then Pennington out. Finds Anthony Beck, 1-yard score. 21-20. It is the Jets. And then with 7 seconds left, Olindo Mari nails a 22-yarder. And Miami goes on to beat the Jets, only becoming the third team since 1990 to win 10 games and yet not make the playoffs.
And the Falcons, with that victory over the Jaguars, the Falcons go 3-1 with Michael Vick as the starter.
Oh, man. Shocker of the day. Mark Bolger looking to clinch home field. Home field advantage with a win. But Marshall Fall going in from 2 yards out. It's 17-10. Rams over the line. Second half. Harrington rolls right. Guns it. Fitzsimmons into the end zone. 2-yard score. It's 24-20. Detroit over St. Louis. Bolger out. Injured left forearm. Bolger, he has to leave the game. Of course, no difference. 30-20. A shocker, if you ask me. It is the Lions over the Rams.
So the Lions finish the season with a 5-11 mark. The Rams blow an opportunity to get home field throughout. The Cardinals, thanks to Neil Racker's 23-yard field goal, up 3-0 on Minnesota. Minnesota has to win.
All right, Brett Favre, 6 for 6 for 56 yards on the opening drive. Ball tip. Bubba Franks there, 2-yard touchdown score. Green Bay on top of Denver early in this game, 7-0.
Packers knowing they have to win and Minnesota has to lose in order for Green Bay to be in. So the point is, Minnesota and Green Bay, one of those teams will win the NFC North Division. The other will be out. Seattle is in the playoffs thanks to all the machinations that we went through earlier. Green Bay right now with Brett Favre still looking magical. Let's talk about the NFC side of the picture.
Well, first of all, Philadelphia now gets the #1 seed. They got a bye along with St. Louis. Carolina winning, and then Dallas is going to be going to Carolina. They beat Carolina earlier on in the year, but it was in Dallas. This time they'll have to play in Carolina this weekend.
Well, and they're happy they don't have to travel to Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota at that dome, as we've seen in Seattle, can testify to this. They can light it up in Minnesota, and their defense played particularly well. Let's not forget, Green Bay's waiting to see the outcome of that Minnesota game. Green Bay earlier in the year traveled to Arizona and lost. Brett Favre, magic today. So far, it continues. Waiting to see what Minnesota does.
Arizona's scary. I know a lot of people laugh at that, but I'm telling you, Arizona, Dave McManus, he does get them to play hard, especially against teams everybody gives them no chance of beating.
Minnesota takes it right down the field on 1 yard line, and rather than try and take the field goal and the lead, they go for the touchdown. They don't make it. Arizona takes it right back down, takes a 3-0 lead.
Hello.
All right. Hey, you know what? As Terry Bradshaw said at the top of the day, the playoff picture for him will be absolutely crystal clear as of
next week.
Absolutely. So with that in mind, next week we will have a playoff game to be determined for Jimmy Johnson, Howie Long, Terry Bradshaw. I'm James Caliendo, and we'll see you
Keep
next
it
week.
simple, folks.
Fox Sports thanks you for watching this presentation of the National Football League. The NFL is online at www.nfl.com. When severe weather strikes, Fox 4's got you covered with total closings. School closings from around the metro on the bottom of your screen the minute they happen. It's how Fox 4 is working for you.
It's a record-setting day for Chief running back Priest Holmes as the Chiefs wrap up the regular season and the second season gets set to begin. Hello, everybody. Al Wallace here on Signal Hill, and welcome to the Fox 4 Sports Chiefs postgame show on a day where the Chiefs close out their 2003 regular season against the Chicago Bears. Chiefs win it 31-3. Chiefs looking for some postseason answers. Got a few today. A lot to talk about over the next 30 minutes. Joining us live now from Arrowhead and just outside the Chiefs locker room, Fox 4 Sports Director Frank Boal. Frank? So a lot of things we like today, a few things we didn't like, but 31-3, it's really tough to argue with that.
Yeah, right, really is. You know, going up 31-3 on this football team was something the Chiefs had to do. They really had to start to turn things around before, before the end of the playoff situation. They have the bye next week, of course, and then they, whoever they play will be determined at that point, depending on who plays in that first round and who wins and who comes in here to Arrowhead to play a football game. I want to bring in Fox analyst and my old buddy Bill Mawson here. He did today's game. And Billy, your thoughts? Chiefs start off 9-0. Then, they sort of staggering around here, especially on the defensive side of football.
Well, you always need a morale booster, confidence builder, and they got one in the Bears today, unfortunately for the Bears. But, Frank, I think that they filled some things. They made some changes to the defensive line. 61, Monteque Sharp getting in there as nose tackle, sliding over Ryan Sims under tackle. I think those are some changes, and along with the pass rush, with Stills on the outside and Arcal Trulick, I think those things will help when they get into the playoffs. But the main thing is, as you know, they're feeling good about themselves.
And that's really important, especially for momentum going into the playoffs. This team needed a game like this, especially on defense, even though, you get into a situation where we wanted Priest Holmes to get the record.
Playoff football is different. It really is. It's different than the regular season, because in the regular season, teams are always trying to confuse you and putting in different tendencies and different personnel groupings and different plays just to throw you off a little bit. Playoffs is all about playing and winning. I mean, it's hit it now and get it or else you're gone. So it's more true sense of football. So I think that they're going into this with a good feeling. I think they'll take it. I think they can take it right on into New England and carry it through there.
Nobody on the national scene's really given them much of a chance to play. Nobody's talking about it anymore. When they were 9-0, that's all they talked about, the Chiefs. Now no one talks about them. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's because there's no team has ever won the Super Bowl having the last, ranked rush defense in the National Football League, and that's what they had going into this. And I think prior to that, when you're talking about 9-0 and 10-0, I think that it was because everybody was thinking Super Bowl. Chiefs, Super Bowl, that undefeated thing. And I think that they were thinking about that. And then when the defense showed that they could have a void there in the run department, then a red flag went up. Red flag.
All right, Billy, thanks. Appreciate it. Always good seeing you. Happy holidays to you. Okay, Bill Moss, the Fox analyst, who did the game here today at Kansas City and been studying the Chiefs over this past 6 weeks or so, watching all the game film. So, Al, I'm going to send it back to you in the studio.
Okay, Frank, be back with you in just a second.
Okay.
Again, the Chiefs win this afternoon, 31-3 over the Chicago Bears. Everybody's got a take on this contest. Of course, the head coach does. Dick Vermeil just wrapping up his press conference in the Chiefs auditorium. Let's hear what the head coach had to say just a few minutes ago.
So I'm very pleased to represent a team that won 13 football games and only lost 3. It would be better if it was 14-2 and 15-1, I know. But it's the best we could do, and we can't change it. And I think they're very pleased. They're very proud. I don't know how many yards they made running today, but we've been only giving up 103 yards a game in those 12 wins that we've won in this stadium in a row. Yeah, and it's not great, but it's not bad. You know, and that's definitely in a playoff caliber and Super Bowl champion caliber if you could play like that. And you only have to be the best on game day. You know, and now we have 8 quarters of football to play, 4 at a time before we go where we want to try to go. But it'll be a challenge. It'll be a challenge.
Okay, that was Chiefs head coach Dick Vermeil just moments ago in the Chiefs press conference room. Chiefs win over the Bears 31-3. We do have game highlights. Chiefs taking on a Bears team now that had gone unbeaten against the other 3 teams in the AFC West. Beat Denver on the road, beat Oakland and San Diego at home. This contest scoreless in the first quarter, but not scoreless here early in the second. Priest Holmes walks into the end zone. This is rushing touchdown number 26 on the season for the Priest. Chiefs take a 7-0 lead. That's a new NFL record. Later in the second, 7:11 to play, Trent Green, his only touchdown pass of the day. This one to Eddie Kennison to make it a 14-0 game in the second, 14-0 at the half. Late third quarter, the Priest does it again. This is rushing touchdown number 27 this year. Priest Holmes with 27 rushing touchdowns. That's the best in NFL history. Gave the Chiefs a 21-3 lead. At this point, of course, they go on to win this contest 31-3. We've got a whole bunch more to talk about. Frank Boal outside the Chiefs locker room. We'll be back with him in just a second. But the Chiefs postgame show continues live here on Signal Hill and also out at Arrowhead. Be back right after this.
We got much knowing for you, but this is the show.
The season's best. Experience the magic at your Cadillac dealer today. Break through.
Mike Thompson.
This is a dangerous storm. We have
Don Harmon.
Got a lot of close schools, roads.
Tina Simpkin.
There's a winter storm warning and it's...
Joe Loria.
Power lines are down. The tree is starting to...
The Fox 4 weather team. These guys are good. They live it, they breathe it, and when severe weather hits, they're simply the best. The Fox 4 weather team, working for you.
So we're going to show you how we do it in shape.
Dante Hall hasn't had a run back for touchdown since October. The October game against Denver had 4 in a row then. He's been waiting something like 11 games to get another. Didn't get it today, so Dante Hall finishes this game, finishes the regular season, tied with 4 other NFL players, 4 run backs for touchdown in one season, 2 punts, 2 kickoffs, but he does not establish a new record. Get you back out to live to Arrowhead Stadium now. Frank Boal just outside the locker room. Frank, we're going to look at some game stats here. I see the Chiefs dominate basically in every statistical category, and I also think that part of that Chicago game plan was to keep the Chiefs offense off the field. Didn't necessarily happen today.
No, it really didn't. You know, you figured they'd get the A train, Anthony Thomas, going today from the get-go, but they didn't do that. In fact, it was a very sluggish first quarter for both teams. It ended 0-0. It was, you know, pretty uneventful at that time. Everybody in the stadium at that point anticipating the fact that, you know, the Chiefs and Priest Holmes and the records that he was about to establish. So it was like one of those. Yeah, sure, get him in here. I've got Al. Let's hold that thought. I got Jerome Woods with me right here, and Jerome. You guys wanted to get some stuff done today as far as defense was concerned. Did you get accomplished what you wanted to do?
I think so. You know, today we played like we played the first 10 weeks of the season. We wanted to go out and try to build momentum going to the playoffs, and I think we did a good job of that today.
Yeah, really, when you look at the statistics, I think overall they had 241 yards, and I think really the net yards rushing were just 84. I think that's really something you guys wanted to do, Chicago, today, is keep Anthony Thomas in check.
Of course, you know, we knew the A train, if he got loose, it'd be a long day, and especially after the way we played the last 2 weeks, you know, that's something that we didn't want to do. We wanted to go out and send a message to whoever's going to come in Arrowhead that, hey, we're back.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the defense. So did you change much this week? Was it simplified? Did you just decide to go back to basics? What did Greg Robinson tell you this week?
No, we went out and just played. You know, we came in earlier in the week and said, hey, the scheme is really pre-snap. Once the ball is committed, you're a football player. You got to have the will and want to go out and make tackles and make plays. And I think today everybody had the want to go out and make tackles and make plays.
What about an offense? You see Priest get the 2 touchdowns. Now he is the all-time leader in both rushing touchdowns and touchdowns in one season. It brings a smile to your face. I know even though you're on the other side of the football.
It couldn't happen to a better guy. You know, we be on the sideline going over adjustments, but you know, we always peek to see what Priest is doing, and he's our Superman. You know, we love him, and I'm glad he's on my team.
Jerome, you get a week off now, and I know that's what you want to get. You're going to get a little bit of rest. The coaching will work you too hard this week as you try to prepare for, well, you don't really know who right now.
Well, we don't know, but, you know, as long as we're just focused on the Kansas City Chiefs, what we got to do. And I think as long as we focus on ourselves, hey, you know, anybody else, you know what I'm saying, don't even matter because, you know, we're the ones that got to get down to Houston, you know what I'm saying. It's going to all be upon us, you know what I'm saying, what we got to go out and do. And I think as long as we go out and play like we did today, we'll be okay.
Jerome, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Take a nice week off. Congratulations, a great season. Of course, safety Jerome Woods for the Kansas City Chiefs. Defense got done what they wanted to get done today, Al, and we can pick up that Priest-Holmes things probably after the next break.
Frank, they also get done what they need to get done against a team that was on a roll. Bears had won 4 of their last 5. This was not chopped liver out there on the field against the Chiefs today.
No, they're really looking to get something done against this team. They're at home. They had a big crowd here. They accomplished virtually everything they wanted to accomplish today except for the fact that Dante Hall did not get that return. And I know you mentioned that before. Dante left without speaking with reporters today. I don't think he's a real happy guy today, although he's had an absolutely tremendous season.
Yeah, it's been a 11-week drought for Dante Hall.
Right.
Maybe, hopefully, he can get one in the playoffs. Okay, Frank, hang with us. Back in a minute. Break time now. Jim Brown, Tony Dorsett, John Riggins, all Hall of Famers, and some of the best running backs in the history of the game. None have scored as many rushing touchdowns in one season as Priest-Holmes. The Fox 4 Sports postgame show continues 2 minutes.
I love working in news.
Fox 4 News anchor Bill Witt.
But sometimes you say to yourself, I wish I could do more. I wish I could help. That's why we created the Problem Solvers, an investigative team that's working for you to get answers. They're seasoned reporters taking your calls and helping to solve your problems. And they're making a real difference in Kansas City. I'm proud of the commitment here at Fox 4, and the Problem Solvers are proud to be working for you.
Buick, an American leader in quality, presents the year-end event with style. The Sabre, luxury, bestseller in its class, nearly 30 miles per gallon highway. There's $3,000 cash back or 0 APR financing on LeSabre. Plus, during Buick's year-end event, you get no monthly payments for 90 days. But you've got to hurry. This offer ends January 2nd.
The Chiefs' offensive line, I think, is the key to their success. They're athletic, and they're very, very good. And Center Casey Wigman is the key
that was
to
Howie, JB, Terry, Jimmy Johnson on the NFL on Fox Morning Show. You heard him, the Chiefs' offensive line, the key to success for this football team. Al Wallace back live here on Signal Hill. Back out to Frank Boal now. Frank, they're talking about that offensive line. Priest-Holmes had a super day behind those guys.
Yeah, he really did. Only 20 for 50, which means he averaged about 2.5 a carry. As long was A-tape. I'm surprised he carried the ball 20 times there. I thought maybe 10 or less, get down around the goal line, let him run, get those records, get in there and get him out of there without getting him hurt. He did not get injured today, which is great news for the Kansas City Chiefs. He'll have a couple weeks now to rest up before they play in the playoff games. But he did get the records as the all-time leader now with rushing touchdowns in the season and the all-time leader for a running back in a season as far as points are concerned. And I think he's 5th on the all-time list for points in a season. So Priest Holmes had a spectacular year, and he'll have to have a spectacular playoff, you know, a playoff scenario for him as well in order for this team to go where they want to go. Remember, the main thing is the main thing, and that is Houston, Texas for the Super Bowl.
Waiting, Frank, as we're waiting for Priest Holmes to enter the Chiefs press conference room, stats on the quarterback today, Trent Green, just like Priest, played a bit more than 3 quarters today, I believe. 19 of 27, 162 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Not super stats, but this guy's going to Hawaii too, okay? The Chiefs today were able to get done what they wanted to get done. Not super numbers like Priest, but certainly solid numbers and more than enough to win.
Oh, yeah, really. And, I think that's all they were looking for today was to get some solid performances. And I think really, Al, the whole emphasis today was going to be on defense. This team really wanted to get some things done on defense, and I think they accomplished that. 84 yards rushing for the Chicago Bears, and I have Anthony Thomas back there, a guy who can shred some defenses against a football team that has played really well the second half of the season. They didn't start off the season very well. They're 1-5. Now they're worried about who's going to be their head coach next year. Will Dick Duran be back or won't he? They have a lot of things running through their minds today. So I think they came out today and really were trying to play with a fervor because they were trying to save the head coach's job, or at least try to save the coach's job. So, you know, I think they came in here ready to play, and the Chiefs just took them out of their game.
Chiefs did that, Frank. They win by 4 touchdowns, 31-3. That's been the, I guess, but don't break defense for the Chiefs this year. Certainly showed up today, winning by 28. Back in a minute with you. The Chiefs defense certainly has taken its lumps, that is, on the field and off. The only lump being taken today, Bears quarterback Rex Grossman had to leave in the second quarter, sacked here in the first, courtesy Gary Steele. Get you back out live to Arrowhead. We hope to hear from the Priest when we come back right here, Fox Sports. He wears number 68. He's now a 9-time Pro Bowler, and he's the only player on this roster to ever win a playoff game in a Chiefs uniform. Will Shields have some company this year? Al Wallace back live here on Signal Hill as we get you back out live to Arrowhead now, where Priest Holmes has just entered the press conference room, and we want to go to him now. Priest Holmes this afternoon setting a new single-season touchdown record. Here's the Priest.
Leading me inside, and the offensive line doing a terrific job. It was just mostly emotions, just getting caught up in it. Can't prepare for it. You really can't, and that's not something that I really focused on going into this game. It was just a matter of winning, giving us an opportunity to show what we can do offensively and defensively, and just to show up here at Arrowhead, because we do know we'll be back here in about 2 weeks.
Did you ever doubt yourself? Did you ever, for 1 second, think the hip injury may get me?
No, not at all. I think the hip injury was just one of the circumstances that comes with football. Injuries will always be related with football. And for me, it was just a matter of knowing that if I found the right surgeon, plus mixed with my faith and just going back to work and trying real hard to make sure that I'm doing the rehab program. And that's why when I stand here today with the touchdown record, it's not only because of the things I've done as an individual, but also for the offensive coordinator, offensive line, also even the defense getting me back on the field. And then also Keith Abrams, who is one of the trainers that has definitely helped me with the rehab, and everyone else in the organization that gave me an opportunity and believed in me. And also we got to know that they actually called the plays in order for me to score, so that's another big thing.
What happens in the huddle? You guys get down there, it's an automatic.
Well,
Automatic, you work on it in practice every day?
it is automatic, and not so much that it's just automatically always going to happen, but as far as in our minds, we're always believing that if we can get into the red zone, and for us that's crossing the 30-yard line, we know that we have the right plays to get us in the end zone.
Was it in the back of your mind all year that this is something I'd like to make another time?
Okay, that was Chiefs running back Priest Holmes in one part of the bowels of Arrowhead. Frank Boal just outside the Chiefs locker room about 50 yards away. Real quick, your thoughts on what the Priest said. He's always pretty much matter of fact, Frank, and he was no different today.
No, he wasn't, but, you know, I think way down deep inside, he really wanted those records badly. I think he wanted to get them last year, didn't do that. And I think this year, it was all about getting in the end zone and trying to get those records and, you know, really trying to be recognized as the #1 back in the National Football League. And I think he didn't just want to do it for himself. I think he wanted to do it because that way he also enhances the status of his offensive line the guys he runs behind, who are absolutely incredible. So I think everything accomplished today as far as Priest Holmes is concerned, and he wanted to prove to everybody that he was back 100% from that hip injury.
Okay, we tried about 10 minutes ago. Let's go over some game stats now. Chiefs dominate certainly on the scoreboard and here as well. First downs, they win it hands down. Total yards, they didn't surpass 300 running and passing combined, but, you know, they really hold. I think the one thing that stands out to me, Frank, is rushing yards for the Bears, 84. That is so totally drastic from what we've had the last couple of weeks for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and really the fact that, the Chiefs also, that's one thing they were really trying to accomplish here today, was the fact that, they really wanted to do it on defense. And defensively, they got it done, and they also got it done as far as Priest Holmes is concerned. So they have to be very happy today, Al.
Okay, Frank, back with you in just a minute. Another break, and when we come back, we're going to break down this playoff picture. Chiefs have lost their last 4 playoff games. They've got a week to get ready, try to get back in the win column. It's been a while. Eddie Kennison on the score here. Back in a minute at the Chiefs postgame show here on Fox 4 and Signal Hill. Continue.
Go the Kansas City Chiefs, who began the season with 9 straight wins, but 2 of the last 3 games have given up 45 points. Chiefs trying to be the 14th this season to go undefeated at home. Priest Holmes leaps a la Marcus, but he doesn't get in. But Dan, Priest Holmes, going for record number 1. Yeah, he's around the left side, and all of a sudden, the electric slide. Rushing touchdown, number 26. So that breaks the record held by Emmitt Smith and Priest Holmes. More on that in a moment. 7-0. Rex Grossman, first road start. Pressure, fires, incomplete. Meanwhile, Grossman drilled by Gary Stills, who gnashes and youngs him right after the throw. He would leave X-rays negative on his injured throwing hand. Meanwhile, Cordell Stewart in. But with 12 seconds left, no timeouts. This is how they end the half. Inbound played and Wade and Dick Duran can't bear to watch. The Bears down 14-0 at the half. Still 14-3. The Bears making the most of it until tip pass by Cordell into the hands of Greg Wesley. Cordell stunned. Grossman baffled. Chiefs moving. 4th and 1. The record-breaking 27 touchdown for Priest Holmes, breaking the overall single-season touchdown mark held by Marshall. Only 20 carries for 50 yards, but the 2 touchdowns, and 31-3. The Kansas City Chiefs hold the Bears. Chandler also played. So 3 quarterbacks, 241 yards, only 3 points. That was a respite. And now they join 3 other teams, including New England, including Seattle, including St. Louis, undefeated at home, 8-0. The Chiefs are the number 2 seed. As for Priest Holmes, well, pretty darn impressive. He was on his way to the record last year, Tom, before he got hurt the last couple of days. So he's a touchdown machine. 27 TDs, best all the overall touchdowns of Marshall and Emmett, and what he had last year. And Rigo, Priest Holmes, they're
Inside the Numbers. Brought to you by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL.
The big issue is the Chiefs, Tom. They get the bye. They don't have home field, but they play with their chests out at home.
That's right. That's right.
That. So do we think that they are, quote, fixed? I mean, look, you shouldn't have to apologize for 13-3,
you don't have
or
to.
should you?
You don't. I don't think they have to apologize, but they certainly have a weakness. They know where it is. It's defensively, and so you have to protect that by using your offense. And Priest Holmes today, 20 carries for 50 yards. He scored the touchdowns, but I think when you start going up against the teams that are in the playoffs now in the AFC, you're going to have to control the tempo of the game. That means 25 to 30 carries for Priest Holmes, which will make sure that the other team's offense, be it a Denver Broncos, Indy, whoever it is, Tennessee, you keep them on the sideline, protect your defense, don't make them have to play 60, 70, 80 plays a football game during the playoffs.
You should remember that they were 13-3. They were in the playoffs in '97 and lost the home game to Denver. I know that's ancient history. They won't be playing the Broncos out of the gates no matter what. No. They have that bye, and they'll be playing either Indianapolis or Tennessee or the Baltimore Ravens. But, I mean, getting ahead of ourselves, the Chiefs have no time up. They've had a wonderful season. Priest Holmes is a touchdown machine. They need to get back to, hey, they started 9-0.
And I like the one intangible, which is going to be the ability of Dick Vermeil to motivate his football team and get the most out of it. That's going to happen.
We know that'll be great. When we return, Peyton Manning trying to lock up the AFC South. Could he do it because Tennessee was right on their heels. And the Minnesota Vikings trying to contain Emmett and Arizona. Could they win the Norris? Amazing.